Imagine this, a high-profile double murder, staged with such precision it mirrors a drive-by, and then one of hip-hop's trailblazers, a pioneer, convicted for fatally stabbing a homeless man on a lonely New York night. Let's jump right into these jaw-dropping tales. Our first story takes us to Harvey, Louisiana in 2002, a night that would forever scar the local hip-hop scene. Corey C. Murder Miller, a name once associated with the glitz of No Limit Records, found himself embroiled in a chaos that no one could have foreseen. On that fateful night, a violent altercation broke out inside a popular nightclub. Amid the pulsating music and flashing neon lights, tempers flared and emotions ran high. According to court records and real-time body cam footage captured by on-duty officers, an altercation escalated rapidly. In the midst of the melee, 16-year-old Steve Thomas became an unintended victim. Witnesses later described the scene as a horrifying blur of fists, shattered glass, and piercing screams as Thomas was brutally beaten and shot. The footage, now part of the public record, shows the frantic moments when officers rushed into a scene of chaos, trying to piece together what had happened. Despite conflicting testimonies, some of which were later recanted under police pressure, the evidence was undeniable. Miller was charged with second-degree murder, and after a hard-fought trial that showcased raw, unfiltered court clips, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. That was just the tip of the iceberg. Coming up next, a story that challenges our notions of justice and vengeance will leave you reeling. Our next chapter takes us to New Jersey, where Charlie Wingate, better known by his stage name Max B, found himself at the center of a deadly robbery in 2006. Max B wasn't just playing the game. He was orchestrating a crime that would cost an innocent man his life. Prosecutors allege that Max B masterminded a robbery with chilling precision. In an elaborate plan, he, along with his ex-girlfriend Gina Conway and an accomplice, targeted David Taylor, a man believed to be carrying a large sum of cash at a hotel. What was intended to be a simple heist quickly devolved into violence. Taylor was fatally shot in the midst of the robbery, and the ensuing investigation was bolstered by damning court clips and real-life police body cam footage that captured the intense atmosphere during the arrest. In court, as the evidence was laid out, Max B's fate hung in the balance. Initially sentenced to 75 years on charges ranging from conspiracy to commit murder to armed robbery, a plea deal later reduced his sentence dramatically to 20 years for aggravated manslaughter. The controversial nature of this case, and the chilling calm with which it was executed, left an indelible mark on the public's perception of the dangers lurking behind the facade of fame. Max B's dark tale exposes the deadly intersection of ambition and violence. Next, prepare for an extraordinary confession that will shatter your expectations. Every once in a while, reality outstrips even the wildest fiction. In 2010, Travel Coleman, known on the streets as G. Depp, stunned everyone by walking into a New York police station with a confession that spanned decades. He admitted to a murder committed 17 years earlier, back in 1993, during a failed robbery that ended with the fatal shooting of John Henkel. What makes G. Depp's confession so haunting is the eerie calm in which he recounted that fateful night. As seen in actual body cam footage, officers were left dumbfounded by his willingness to reveal every detail. Depp claimed that he hadn't even realized the gravity of his actions until much later, insisting that his admission was a sign of remorse. However, the recorded confession and subsequent court testimonies provided little comfort to the community or the family of John Henkel. G. Depp's trial became a landmark case, not only because of his confession, but also because it sparked debates about the nature of remorse and the blurred lines between redemption and punishment in the criminal justice system. Ultimately, he was convicted and sentenced to a term ranging from 15 years to life in prison, a verdict that underscored the harsh reality that even decades-old secrets eventually come to light. If G. Depp's 17-year-old confession just sent shivers down your spine, hit that subscribe button like you're unearthing a dark secret that's been buried for decades. Let's keep digging into the truth together. In 2018, the everyday scene of a family shopping trip at Walmart turned into a nightmare in Huntersville, North Carolina. Jonathan Kirk, known in the rap game as D-Baby, was involved in an altercation that escalated into deadly violence. In a case captured by in-store surveillance cameras, now part of the public record, D-Baby fatally shot 19-year-old Jalen Craig during a heated dispute that erupted in the middle of the store. According to the court files and real body cam clips taken at the scene, the chaos unfolded within seconds. D-Baby maintained that he acted in self-defense, claiming that Jalen Craig and another individual had attempted to rob him while he was simply shopping with his family. However, the evidence, raw and unedited, told a different story. The courtroom was forced to sift through conflicting testimonies and chilling footage, ultimately leading prosecutors to dismiss the murder charge in favor of a misdemeanor weapons offense. This case left the community in shock, as the footage revealed a raw, unfiltered glimpse into how quickly an everyday environment can descend into lethal violence. And if you think that story was intense, just wait. There's more on the way. Stick around, because after this next story, you're going to be wondering if anything in this world is normal at all. Now we step into one of the most notorious cases in rap history. In 2005, Andre Da, better known as Mac Minister, became entwined in a double murder that would haunt the hip-hop community for years to come. The scene was set in Kansas City, where rappers Anthony Fatone Watkins and his friend Jermaine Cowboy Akin were lured away with promises of a record deal. Instead, they were met with a grisly fate. According to the investigation, which is supported by rare footage from America's Most Wanted and gripping court transcripts, the two men were executed in a remote area near Las Vegas in what prosecutors described as an execution-style murder. Mac Minister, along with his accomplice Jason Mathis, was implicated in the crime, and the ensuing trial was a media frenzy. Raw, brutal, and uncompromising in its portrayal of a world where the lure of fame could mask unspeakable violence. Ultimately, McMinister was convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case not only exposed the underbelly of the music industry, but also left viewers and fans in disbelief at the depths of betrayal and violence. Each time we dig into these cases, the stakes only get higher. If you think this was brutal, wait until you hear what comes next. Our next story is one that reads like a Hollywood thriller, but is all too real. In 2017, Tamar McIntyre, known in the rap world as Tay, sometimes even spelled Take, became infamous for his involvement in a deadly home invasion in Mansfield, Texas. The incident led to the murder of 21-year-old Ethan Walker during a violent break-in, and the story took a wild twist from there. What makes this case particularly jaw-dropping is not just the crime itself, but what happened afterward. While authorities scrambled to catch him, Take managed to cut off his ankle monitor and flee, turning his escape into a media spectacle. As if that weren't enough, while on the run, he was linked to another murder. During a robbery attempt, 23-year-old Mark Salivar was killed, and even as the manhunt intensified, Take released a track called The Race that went viral, propelling him to rap stardom despite his criminal charges. Real court clips from his trial reveal a courtroom atmosphere charged with disbelief as prosecutors detailed the heinous acts and the incredible audacity of a fugitive turning his criminal escapade into art. In 2019, Tyke was finally convicted of Walker's murder and sentenced to 55 years in prison, with additional charges still pending for the killing of Salivar. And for those craving the ultimate climax, get ready. A finale awaits that will redefine betrayal and brutality, turning every headline on its head. December 16, 2021 marked another grim chapter in this saga of violence. Outside a Harlem barbershop, an argument erupted that would lead to the fatal shooting of Oscar Hernandez. Kevin Perez, known in the streets as K-Flock K, was at the center of this violent confrontation. According to multiple sources, including detailed body cam recordings and real-life court testimonies, what began as a heated verbal dispute spiraled into a full-blown shooting. The scene, captured in real time by nearby surveillance cameras, shows a tense standoff where emotions exploded in a matter of seconds. Prosecutors maintained that K-Flock K's actions were not spontaneous, but rather a calculated move linked to ongoing gang activity. His legal team argued for self-defense, but the mounting evidence, including graphic footage from the scene, pointed in a very different direction. Indicted on charges that include murder and federal racketeering, K-Flock K now faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. The intensity only mounts as we approach the next chapter, a saga of a superstar whose courtroom drama has rocked the nation to its core. In October 2024, the streets of Chicago and the entire music world were rocked by the arrest of famed rapper Lil Durk, born Dirk Devontae Banks. Known for his chart-topping hits and community activism, Lil Durk's fall from grace began when he was arrested in Miami on federal charges related to a murder that shook Los Angeles. Authorities allege that back in August 2022, Lil Durk orchestrated the murder of Xavier Robinson, a relative of rapper Juan Rondo. The motive? Retaliation. It was purportedly linked to the 2020 killing of King Vao, a close associate of Durk, and according to federal prosecutors, this wasn't an impulsive act. Surveillance footage and court exhibits revealed that Durk allegedly placed a bounty on Robinson's head and even financed the travel of accomplices from his family collective to carry out the hit. The courtroom drama was intense. Real clips of testimony and graphic evidence left little room for doubt. Despite his claims of being a Grammy-winning artist and a dedicated community contributor, the charges against him painted a picture of a man entangled in the violent underbelly of his own world. Currently, Lil Durk remains in custody as his legal team prepares for a protracted battle in court. Just when you think the depths of this darkness have been plumbed, the forthcoming account will shatter all preconceived notions of honor and legacy. For our penultimate story, we turn to one of hip-hop's earliest pioneers, Nathaniel Glover, better known as Kid Creole. In 2017, this once revered artist, who had helped define an era, was arrested in New York City for an act that shocked fans and critics alike. Late one fateful night, while on his way to work, Kid Creole encountered John Jolly, a homeless man, on a lonely street. Surveillance cameras captured the violent moments as Glover, convinced he was under threat or simply caught in a moment of paranoia, fatally stabbed Jolly multiple times before fleeing the scene. The grim reality of the footage left no doubt. This was not an accident, but a violent act that would forever tarnish his legacy. Courtroom clips from his trial reveal a harrowing narrative of a once legendary figure brought low by his own actions. Kid Creole was eventually convicted of manslaughter, a conviction that underscored the tragic fall from grace of an artist who once helped shape the sound of a generation. This case is a stark reminder that no amount of fame can shield one from the consequences of a deadly mistake. As we near the climax, brace yourself for the ultimate revelation, a final story that eclipses all others in its sheer audacity. In October 2018, Jamal Demons, known by his stage name YNW Melly, became the center of one of the most controversial murder cases in recent rap history. Accused of the brutal double murder of his close friends, Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas and Anthony YNW Sack Williams, Melly's case reads like something out of a crime thriller. Prosecutors allege that not only did Melly commit these heinous acts, but he also went to extraordinary lengths to stage the scene so that it looked like a drive-by shooting. Real body cam footage from the investigation, along with graphic court testimonies, paints a picture of calculated cruelty and betrayal. Witnesses describe the scene as chaotic and surreal. Friends turned foes, a staged murder scene designed to deflect suspicion, and a trial that left the nation divided. Melly pleaded not guilty, insisting that he was innocent, yet the overwhelming evidence has led prosecutors to push for the death penalty due to the sheer gravity of the crime. After weeks of intense testimony and emotionally charged court sessions, his trial ended in a mistrial, leaving both fans and critics in a state of shock and disbelief. With a retrial scheduled for September, this case remains one of the most talked about and controversial in hip-hop history. If you thought all the previous stories were hard to digest, YNW Melly's case is on another level entirely. A story that will make you question everything about the dark side of fame. If you found these stories as shocking as we did, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your crew, and, most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more jaw-dropping content. And for those of you who can't get enough of the drama in the world of hip-hop, make sure to check out our video, The Hottest and Most Beautiful Rappers' Girlfriends in the World. It's the perfect follow-up to today's deep dive.